We're going to call tonight's meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the August 17th City Council meeting. Fran, will you please do the roll call?
Councilmembers Raywalt.
Present.
Fitzgerald.
Present.
Matfig.
Present.
Saucedo.
Present.
Bynum.
Present.
Harvey.
Present.
Spread.
Present.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you, Fran. Will you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. Is there anybody here that would like to talk to council about something that's not already on tonight's agenda? Please come to the podium and say your name and address.
My name is Roger Chapman. I live at 1012 East 8th Street here in Muscatine.
What was your name again?
Roger Chapman. And I know a couple years ago I was here and requested that there be a sign put up at the end of Cypress and 8th to keep the semi-traffic off of my street. You guys did that. The Traffic Commission went ahead and approved it, put it up there. Well, what I would like to do is see to it that the Traffic Commission would get together and look at that again and maybe change that sign to say no semis, or put a 5-ton weight limit or something on that street, because the semis are totally ignoring that sign. They're still coming down through there. There was one coming down through there last Wednesday, and I seen him with a long trailer. It was all he could do to get onto Lombard, and then when he got onto Lombard, he went to go out on 9th Street, and his trailer was rubbing the pole at 9th and Lombard. You know, it's really surprising that he didn't take that pole down. So
I remember when we talked about this last year and the Transportation Committee looked into it and approved and put the sign up. Did that help at all?
no,
No.
they're still coming down
They're still
through there.
coming through there.
Yep. I stopped one of the drivers last year, and he says, well, how am I supposed to make my deliveries? And he cussed me up one side, down the other. And I said, that's not my problem. I said, you need to learn to read. That sign says no trucks. Obey it. They don't pay no attention. They come right through there anyway. So one of these days, somebody's car is going to get wiped out. The utility pole is going to get taken out, or somebody's kid's going to get run over. I mean, it's just that simple. Something needs to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman.
Thank you.
Hopefully the Transportation Commission or Committee can look at it again. Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing nothing, we're going to go ahead and move on with tonight's agenda to the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes items 6A, items 8A through I, items 12A, and tonight's bills totaling $2,131,988.83.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
Scott? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries with all ayes. Moving on down, next we have a public hearing that concerns the proposed vacation and disposal of the Lakeview right-of-way and certain utility and drainage easements in Lot 7 and Lot 8 of the Northport Commons Subdivision. Beaver Builders has filed a combined preliminary final plat for the Muscatine Landing Subdivision, a 28.4-acre, 4-lot subdivision on the north side of the Northport Drive. In order to accommodate the proposed subdivision, this right-of-way and certain drainage and utility easements must first be vacated and the right-of-way deeded back to the adjoining property owner. Prior to any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. Now is the time for the public to comment. Hearing nothing.
Move to close.
Do I have a motion to close?
Move to close.
Second?
Second.
Bob? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with all ayes. Now we have some resolutions following the public hearing. The first one is a resolution vacating and conveying the Lakeview right-of-way to the adjoining property owner in the North Port Commons subdivision. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Scott, is there a second?
Second.
Alan, any discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bynum?
Aye.
Saucedo?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Raywalt?
Aye.
And Natbig.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. Secondly, we have a resolution vacating certain utility easements in lots 7 and 8 of the North Port Commons subdivision. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Tom? Alan, second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Raywalt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Natbig?
Aye.
Spread?
Aye.
Harvey? Saucedo?
Aye.
And Bynum.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. The third resolution is to vacate and convey certain drainage easements for Lot 8 of the North Port Commons subdivision. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Tom?
Second.
Scott? Any discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Bynum?
Aye.
Saucedo?
Aye.
Natbig?
Aye.
Raywalt?
Aye.
And Fitzgerald.
Aye.
The motion is, the resolution is adopted with all ayes. The last resolution is to accept the drainage easement for Lot 7 of the North Port Commons subdivision. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Any discussion? Councilman Saucedo, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bynum?
Aye.
Spread?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Raywalt?
Aye.
And Natbig.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. Moving down on tonight's agenda, we're on 11E now. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution accepting completed work performed under the Airport Runway 624 reconstruction project and authorizing the final payment to the contractor. The contract for this project was awarded to Manats Incorporated in the amount of $3,985,699.84. There was one change order totaling $140,775 for a final contract amount of $4,126,474.84. Staff is requesting that City Council accept the completed work and authorize the final payment to the contractor. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Just a comment, I'd gone out there several times during out that project, and really was pleased with the contractor's work, the overseeing of what the Public Works Department and the project execution for the contractors that we had was a very good job, and I'm glad that we were able to get awarded some of those awards from the state in that bid, in that job. That's all I have.
Hearing no other discussion, Councilman Raywalt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Natbig?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Spread?
Aye.
Bynum?
Aye.
And Saucedo.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11F. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution setting a public hearing on a proposed annexation to and within the City of Muscatine. A voluntary annexation request has been filed for a 4.18 acre parcel of land and 6.68 acres of adjoining right-of-way for a total of 10.86 acres in the 3900 block of Park Avenue West. White Distribution and Supply currently operates a business on the parcel that adjoins the proposed annexation and is acquiring the 4.1 acres to construct a new building and expand their operations. Because they need city services, they're requesting the annexation of the 4.1 acres as well as the 6.68 acres of adjoining right-of-way. Prior to any formal action by City Council, a public hearing is required. This hearing will take place on Thursday, September 7th of this year at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
What, is there sewer out there and water already?
Mayor, Council, yes, there is. Right now, the last manhole's right at the property line where the edge of this annexation is. And the other thing I mentioned while I'm up here is the public hearing will be the 21st because we need to meet the 14-day working requirement for notification.
Not the 7th?
Yeah.
So all utilities are in place?
Yep.
Great. It's nice to see that expansion. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Hearing no other discussion, Councilman Natvig, how do you vote?
Aye.
Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Raywalt.
Aye.
Saucedo.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
And Spread.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11G, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution accepting completed work for the 2016 Sidewalk Replacement Program. The contract for this project was awarded to Higher Construction in the amount of $141,909.15, and there were no change orders. The final contract amount is $111,832.19. Staff is requesting that City Council accept the completed work and authorize the final payment to the contractor. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
Mike? Any discussion?
So I had a question about this in regards to this earlier in an email. The bid was for 141, they were awarded 111. There was $30,000 left on that, Jim, then, is that the way I understand, or is that what's going to carry into this next year as far as the 30,000? Because there's a change order for $942 or whatever it was that they did some cosmetic stuff.
Mayor, Council, the difference between the 111 and the, I lost my place
141.
just that quick, 141,
Yeah.
is that in the design, we anticipated that there'd be some curb removal that we would do and some other barrier curb that needed to be built in places. And in general, the best way to say it as quickly and summarize it as succinctly as possible is that we didn't end up having to do any of that. We were able to bring a company in that sawed, that cut the back of those curbs off, and we're pretty much able to make all of that work instead of having to replace anything. So that is for the total completion of all the work. It just came in that
So
much
then
less
basically,
because there was
we
work
just-
we thought we were going to do that we didn't have to.
We saved about 30,000.
Yes.
Okay, that's much better. I like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Hearing no other discussion, Councilman Spread, how do you vote?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Bynum?
Aye.
Saucedo?
Aye.
Natvig?
Aye.
Fitzgerald?
Aye.
And Raywalt?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11H, presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution authorizing the assessment of unpaid abatement costs to private properties. Periodically, the city takes action to assess unpaid nuisance abatement costs to private properties. The nuisance abatement costs for snow, junk, and weed removal total $3,249.39. The administrative fees are $1,200, and the assessment fees are $1,400. The total fee being requested for assessment at this time totals $5,849.39. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Raywalt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Natvig?
Aye.
Spread?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Bynum?
Aye.
Saucedo?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted with all ayes. 11I, presented for City Council's consideration is a request from Building and Grounds for the issuance of a purchase order for a maintenance contract for the new library trees and flower beds. 2 quotes were received, with the low quote from EIA Landscaping in the amount of $6,550. There is $11,300 available in the Other Nursery Services budget line for this purpose. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11J, presented for City Council's consideration is a request from the Water Pollution Control Plant to replace the Papoose Creek Lift Station bar screen rake assembly. During several heavy rain events this summer, construction debris overwhelmed the lift station. The manufacturer, Vulcan Industries, can provide a new assembly for $22,396 delivered. Staff will install the assembly using parts that were not damaged. The damaged assembly will be sent to Vulcan, where it will be repaired and returned to the Water Pollution Control Plant for backup. Vulcan estimates the cost for the rebuilt assembly will not exceed $10,000. Funds for this emergency repair will be taken from the operations and maintenance budget. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question for John. John, was the existing debris screen undersized for its duty, or was it kind of half worn out to begin with, or what's going to keep this happening from again?
No, the bar screen is actually new. It was put in the after the 08 flood, so it's a relatively new piece of equipment. It's just not. It's not meant to handle bricks and man sand and gravel. That's just what it was that we found a lot of, and the rain that came down just washed that stuff down so far from who knows where. I mean, we could try to figure out where it came from, but it's pretty hard to tell where that came from. There was just so much of it, and it just came down so fast, and there were so many openings because of the construction that wouldn't be there normally and won't be there again. So
Is this,
I wouldn't really.
So how do you know it's not going to be there again? I mean, basically, we're not stopping construction the next couple of years.
Yeah, we're probably going to be looking at that a lot more, where those openings are and what we can do to protect it, and we could actually turn the bar screen off. And we've been running without it. We turn it on, we run it during the day. Now when we get in, my operators go down, run the screen, clean it off, and then turn it off. And under normal conditions, that screen is so long and so large that we don't have to run it in automatic, so we can leave it up top and let the debris come down and bang against the bars. That doesn't hurt anything. And then when the mechanism is run, we can actually control that so that we don't over-rotate again. That's kind of the plan.
is this right at the lift station or at the head end of Papoose?
No, it's at the lift station right down here in the riverfront. Yeah,
Where does the junk that scrapes off, where does it end up?
landfill. We scrape it into a bin. It goes, and then we transfer it into a dumpster, and then that's taken to the landfill.
So you're confident that the new one probably won't fail because you're going to be monitoring it better?
Well, as confident as I can be, as I was the first time. I mean,
You're going to guarantee it.
there are fail safes that are supposed to be in place, but when things hit it, it wasn't ready for, and we can make those fail safes a little bit more sensitive is what we're going to do, to make sure that doesn't over rotate again. We're going to try that, hopefully.
Do people have to come up to the lift station, or can they flip a switch down at the plant?
No, this will be in hand. They have to be physically at the station to do that, yeah. That way they can really see what's there. They can actually do something before they damage the machine, so.
That's all I had.
So you need 22, or do you need 32? Because the 10,000 is going to be for the rebuild, and the 22 is for the new?
Yeah, the 22 is for the
For the new one?
the new one right now. I don't know what to ask for the other one, because
So we're not going to issue them a PO for the rebuild yet?
I'll come back probably for that. I
Okay.
mean, it could be
Could be 10 or
$2,000
could be
to
6.
$3,000, I hope. I hope once they get it, they say, oh, it's not really as bad as we thought it was, and they can't really tell until they have it on their bench to really set it, because it's all warped and wobbly, and who knows what they're going to have to replace or bend or do to it, so it's hard to tell.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Hearing no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11K, Presented for City Council's consideration is a request from the Police Department to approve a Justice Assistance Grant. The Department of Justice has tentatively awarded the Police Department the 2017 JAG grant in the amount of $17,533. This grant award is shared with the Muscatine County Drug Task Force and the Muscatine County Sheriff's Office. It is used for equipment purchases that are not included in the current department budget. The Drug Task Force is allocated 20% of the grant, and the remainder is split between the city and the county. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11L. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the renewal of the contract with Midland Davis for wood grinding services at the compost site. The contract was negotiated in 2015, and a one-year extension was approved in 2016. Under the terms of the contract, it can be extended for a period of 2 years. Staff is satisfied with their performance and response time and is requesting that City Council approve a one-year extension with Midland Davis. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11M. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve the submission of a grant application by the Iowa Office of Public Transit on behalf of small urban transit systems in Iowa for a rural transit grant. If the grant is received, the city will be able to replace 2 of its older buses. Funding is approved through the Iowa Rural Transit Vehicle Replacement Grant Award and is at an 85% level. The total purchase price for 2 light-duty buses will be approximately $176,000, making the city's share $26,400, which is 15%. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
When will we know if we get these?
Call the date? Do you call the date? The memo states the award of the rural grant is not expected until January 2018.
Correct. This one, yeah, Mayor Council, this one will be awarded in January, so we won't know until then.
But we've already selected what buses we're going to replace.
Yes,
Okay.
we know which ones are bad.
So, I mean, that's why I was like,
Yeah.
we already seemed like we know it, or we don't know, or we hope we may
We
get
know
it.
which ones we want to get rid of, definitely.
Okay.
Both buses are, I believe, over 150,000
Yes.
miles.
So Brian, since you're up there.
Sure.
So this decision of, should we get this other grant for the CNGs, and then that decision, whether
That
it's
would-
6 or 8?
Correct, then we would no longer need this grant, and there's no penalty for us to decline this
Yeah,
one. It's just
okay.
an application.
Well, actually.
Or we could take them all.
Or, ideally, you could do the 8th. The fund balance is there to do the 8th. We have 2 buses that are left that are over 150,000 miles on them. So if we're lucky to get the CNG grant, you could do this one as well, which is the last one we got, and get those 2 old buses off, out of the fleet for 22 and change. So
Okay.
we'll see how things
We have
come
options.
along with the grant, so.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Brian.
uh,
Buses does that leave with the diesels in them and nothing in trouble?
I don't know that exact number right now, but I can find out for you.
We looked at how much it would cost to re-engine those buses?
To re-engine the diesel, I believe we have, but I don't have that number with me either. I can find out.
Brian, if we get that CNG grant, is that for new buses or to retrofit what we have plus these 2 new
That
buses?
that would be for new buses,
That'd be for new buses?
correct?
Okay.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Okay, let's go.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Hearing no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. 11N. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request to approve a contract for electrical work at the landfill maintenance building. 2 bids were received for the electrical work, with the low bid from Jeff Hackett Electric in the amount of $9,462. It is anticipated that work will begin the week of August 21st. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The request is approved with all ayes. Number 14, communication from council members. Councilman Harvey, do you have anything tonight?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilman Spread?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Councilman Raywalt?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilman Bynum?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilman Saucedo?
Yeah, I have a few things I wanted to touch base on. I know that in our minutes that we had from our consent agenda was the Fireball run that the Chamber is running for the Amazon Prime run. That's a pretty big deal for our community, having the ability to have a visual of 9 million viewers. It's going to be here in Muscatine on a Tuesday, I believe.
September 26th.
September 26th again. And that's pretty good for our community, not something that a lot of people in the public are aware of. I encourage a lot of the community to try to step out at some of those locations where they're going to be here in the downtown area and eventually view it televised as well. That'll probably following up with the dates that we'll probably put out there with the Chamber's help. On the other item, this will be our last meeting for the month. School's starting next week, so be aware. There's going to be a lot of kids trafficking around, running up and down the streets, getting to their school bus stops, so just be aware of the construction and also the kids starting the new school. That's all I have.
Councilman Natvig?
Nothing, thank you.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Staff?
Jim provided a handout on the Mississippi Drive for council tonight. If you'd like have any questions, Jim can certainly come up and give you a heads up on the status. Our plan is to move forward with utility work now and through the winter as much as possible and get as much utility work done underground before spring and flooding and other issues that occur in the spring. So.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This is just for the excavating contractor, I see. And what have they left to do in the first stage?
I'm sorry, Mike, could you just repeat that? I didn't quite,
This is just for the underground guys, not
right.
the
It's
plant.
real clear to make the difference between the contractor that's doing the underground work and the contractor that's doing the paving, yes. So the underground contractor, what do they have left to do in the first stage? They have some storm sewer work, about 2 days, let's just call it 2 or 3 days worth of storm sewer work on Chestnut. And then they would be done. I believe that they are coordinated with the hotel to do that this weekend or next weekend. I honestly, I don't remember, but I think it's this weekend. And all the underground work in the quote-unquote box is then done. So the idea is that you, if you don't mind, just to proceed. So the idea at that point in time is to let the underground work go on into the next stage so that when this paving work is completed in the box in front of where the hotel is from Iowa to Chestnut, that they can then just keep on moving towards Broadway. You know, the last 3 weeks of this contract have been really, really good. They made super progress. We agree with the contractor's assessment that with any break at all in the weather, they'll be complete to Broadway before we have to quote-unquote shut down for the winter. And the other thing that is in here is also then if, capital I, capital F, if they get everything paved and tied in down at Broadway, at the downstream end of the project, that we would consider seriously letting them do some underground work headed the other way on the sanitary sewer, hopefully over the winter. I know it's not ideal, but it's the ideal time to do that work so that in the spring we might not have such a risk of being impacted by high water from in the spring, so they can get started right away. Now, I know that I have stood up in front of you guys before and said, we're not letting them out of the box till they get the work done. In essence, if you want to say, aha, see, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you for saying that, you can do that. But in this instance where we weren't able to fulfill our end of the bargain with this contractor right from day one, this is a very beneficial to the city negotiated continuation of this contract instead of, if we were to stick strictly with the rule and do that, the paving would get completed still at the same time, and then you'd have to demobilize that paving till the underground contractor got completed in the next stage. It certainly seems to me like it is. It seems to the project development team and staff that this is much more beneficial for the city and in the city's best interest to continue on with this. So yes, I know that we said that, and we certainly stuck with that until we could stick with it no longer. But we have we also have a meeting with the hotel on August 23rd, which I think is Wednesday of next week.
With the hotel?
Excuse me, not with the hotel. Hotel contractor, Merit Construction. Okay. Trying to come up with a mutually beneficial plan to get Chestnut built. It's not going to be easy, because they need it and we need it. But we are literally to that point now where we need to figure out how we're going to get Chestnut built. We cannot wait until late October or maybe early November before we get access to Chestnut, because at that point in time we can't guarantee anybody anything about completing that. It's too late in the season. There's a lot of work there. There's 2 parking lots that need to be done, a whole new street that needs to be done, and then another part of a street that needs to be done to tie into that drop-off area. So we're going to do our best to continue on with the negotiation and the coordination that we have been doing with the hotel. Hopefully we can find some way to pull the rabbit out of the hat. If we don't find some way to pull the rabbit out of the hat, I'm pretty sure you guys will hear about it.
Jim, I have a better understanding of it now. So
Okay.
About 2 days and the underground folks will be done.
Yes, yes. And, for all intents and purposes, they're done now, because that little bit of storm sewer that's on Chestnut, some of it is within a foot or two of the foundation of the mobile lift for the masons on that side. So we can't do it. You'd be foolhardy and it just would be silly to try and do that. So I mean, that's stuff we can coordinate.
Okay.
But the sewer work out in Chestnut itself is either done or almost done?
The sanitary sewer work in Chestnut is done, and the water main work in Chestnut is done.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Will you let us know when those 2 little things are absolutely done on Chestnut? Those 2 little, the 2 days work that you have to do. Storm sewer. Storm sewer.
And I just had a couple of things. I wanted to remind everyone, we have Coffee with the Mayor this coming Saturday at Happy Joe's at 9 a.m. It was moved up a week to accommodate another event. And I wanted to piggyback with what Santos said about the Fireball Run. It's going to be an awesome event for our community. We met with the producers and the host a couple weeks ago and highlighted our wonderful art center. They did some pre-filming there. We're going to have 40 cars going clear across the United States, stopping at unique locations and highlighting some of the things that we do here. So kudos to the chamber and all the work that they're doing for that. So keep that, save the date, September 26th. And that's all we have for tonight. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.